Are you ready to embark on a new lifestyle to turn back the clock on aging, but are already worried that you don't have the motivation and the discipline necessary to keep it up, to stick with the regime that's going to be required? Watch this video through to the end, and I'll show you how I stayed on track and kept both my motivation and my discipline high over the last year and a half while tracking my nutrition and sticking to my workout schedule. If you want to turn back the clock on aging and you're looking for the best strategies to recapture the fitness and energy of yesteryear, then please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. If you're an older guy and you're ready to turn back the clock, but you feel that you just don't have the motivation and the discipline required to stick with what might be a long-term plan, then I created a 3-part series of videos to show you what I did to overcome those same self-limiting fears and frustrations. My name is Lance Hitchings, and I created this channel to help guys like me get back into great shape and to feel young and vibrant and energetic again. And I know that one of the biggest stumbling blocks to achieving that is just sticking with it, especially when the going gets tough and you feel like you're just not getting the results that you're looking for. So in early May of 2017, I decided that my approach to physical fitness wasn't really working and that I was going to have to come at this a little bit differently. I was going to have to create a new lifestyle for myself rather than just setting some short-term goals. And what I realized that I needed was a different mindset. So I set about to develop one. And the first thing that I decided to change was the whole goals thing. They weren't really working for me. So I started to examine the whole goal-making process, and I discovered something really interesting. So there are 2 types of goals, short-term goals and long-term goals. Now, my short-term goals of, say, losing a pound or 2 a week, those were okay. It's just that I was putting way too much importance on them. They needed to be more flexible, more plastic. Because some weeks I didn't lose a pound or 2 a week. Some weeks I gained a pound or 2 a week or more. So my short-term goals were to lose a pound or 2 a week, and some weeks I did not achieve that goal. And I had to learn to make that okay, rather than throwing up my hands in despair and getting all freaked out about it and quitting because I didn't achieve my goal. So my old long-term goal was, for example, to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. And that's the goal that I had to change. I lose 30 pounds when I lose 30 pounds. I'd like it to be in 90 days, but if it's not, that's okay. Because I know I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to achieve that goal. I just don't know when exactly. My new long-term goal doesn't have anything to do with any metrics. My new long-term goal is to change my lifestyle, to turn back the clock. And I have a very specific image in my mind of exactly what that looks like. And I'm constantly moving forwards towards that image. And here's the thing, goals are great, especially for motivation, because it feels so good when you achieve one. When you finally reach a goal, you get a great big boost in motivation, but you need to keep it realistic. I feel great when I actually lose a pound or 2 a week, but I don't sweat it when I don't. I keep it real. So now I know that if I'm going to achieve my ultimate goal of turning back the clock on aging, then I'm going to have to adopt a new lifestyle that I can maintain for the rest of my life, not just until I reach some short-term goal. But changing my lifestyle, adopting a new one, takes discipline. And I was pretty sure I didn't have that much willpower. But here's the thing about willpower. It comes in finite amounts. And just like a muscle, it can become fatigued. As a day wanes, so does your willpower. There's a phenomenon in psychology called decision fatigue. And it's when, after a long day of making difficult decisions, it becomes more and more difficult to maintain willpower and to continue to make good decisions. So what's the answer? How do you stay motivated? Well, one way is to use habits instead of willpower. You see, willpower is a conscious thought process. And choices made with willpower are conscious choices. But habits are not consciously made, and they don't dip into our willpower reserves. With habits, decisions are made on autopilot, just automatically. Now, habits are defined as non-reflective, repetitive behavior. Non-reflective meaning you don't have to think about it. And repetitive meaning you've done it enough times that it's become a habit. This notion of acting without thinking about it is called automaticity, and it's what drives habits. So let me give you an example. And the example that I'm going to use is the very first workout that I did, which was high intensity interval training, or HIIT, or HIIT for short. And I'm going to continue to use this example as I move through the various motivational strategies that I employed in my quest to turn back the clock. Okay, so when I first started doing HIIT, a lot of the workouts that I skipped were because I forgot about them. I just didn't think about working out until it was too late. And eventually, I had to set an alarm on my computer to remind me to work out. The whole concept of working out was so new that it wasn't on my mind. I just didn't think about it. But as I was reminded to work out by my computer, and as I started working out more and more often, I found myself thinking about it more and more often, reflecting on it more and more often. And granted, I was using willpower to get up the motivation to work out. But now, after 16 months of doing HIIT on a regular basis, I've gotten to the point where I now remember to work out and choose to work out every day without really thinking about it. It's become a habit. I've achieved automaticity with regards to working out. But how long to turn a new behavior into a habit? In a study done at University College London, 96 participants were asked to choose an everyday behavior that they wanted to turn into a habit and to keep a log for 84 days. And some really interesting data emerged from this study. On average, it took about 66 days until a new habit was formed. But as it turns out, not all habits are created equal. How long it takes to turn a new behavior into a habit depends on what the behavior is. Drinking a glass of water after breakfast only took about 20 days until full automaticity had been achieved. Walking for 10 minutes after breakfast took 50 days. But doing 50 sit-ups after breakfast had not achieved full automaticity after the full 84 days had expired. However, they were able to extrapolate the data out over time, and they discovered that any behavior, no matter how difficult, can achieve full automaticity within 8 or 9 months. That's any behavior. But what's interesting is that when researchers plotted the data, they found a curved relationship between habits and automaticity. It was the earliest repetitions that proved most beneficial in establishing new habits, with gains diminishing over time. So as I work to turn a behavior that I consciously choose into a habit that I don't have to think about, it gets easier over time. If I can just get through that initial phase of choosing the behavior and doing it, it will eventually get easier and easier until finally I don't have to think about it at all, and I will have achieved full automaticity. So back to early May of 2017, when I decided that I needed a new plan. And I started that plan by making a list of every behavior that I wanted to include in my new lifestyle, a lifestyle that would result in turning back the clock. And then to turn every item on that list, each and every one of them, into a new habit. Eating right would have to become a new habit. Working out would have to become a new habit. Doing whatever I needed to do to boost my testosterone production would have to become a new habit. I was going to have to instill a lot of new habits. And I knew that a lot of these habits would not be easy habits to instill because they were all things that I either hated to do or they were old, bad habits that I was going to have to break. So rather than taking on a whole bunch of new habits all at once and then inevitably burning out and quitting after a few months, I decided to take on one new habit at a time. And I knew that taking on one new habit at a time was going to take a long time. But you know what? I made that okay because I'm in this for the long haul. I'm turning around decades of bad habits and poor choices. And I'm okay with this taking as long as it takes. So I think this would be a good place to take a break. In the next video in this series, I'll talk about how I implement this strategy in my own actual workouts and how I deal with setbacks. Over the next few months, I'll be revealing a number of strategies that I use in my own personal goal to turn back the clock on aging. So please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends and on your social media. Thanks for watching.